Welcome back to my writer's room, everyone. I am Matt Wallace, YouTube's resident angry writer, and thank you for taking a few minutes out of your day to come hang out with me here in my angry, lonely little writerly sanctum. I always appreciate that. I really do. This week's vlog is brought to you by today's random object from my office, and today it is this Andre the Giant Funko Pop. Look at the little mutton chops. Look at them. Look at the little mutton chops. It is March 20th, 2018. How is it almost 3 months into the year? How? Where is it all going? What is eating our time? Who or what is eating our time? Is it a Carcosa thing? I don't know. As you can see here, I've drawn poor Hamshackle Pig staring up despondently at this Hamshackle 2.0 model that is getting ready to hit the market. Hamshackle's worried about obsolescence. He's worried he's not good enough. He's worried he doesn't have enough to offer as a marginal author's vlog mascot. He's worried he's going to be replaced. What does he have to bring to the game? What does he have to bring to the table that's different in the face of all this innovation? What is he going to do? What's an imaginary pig to do? And that obviously relates to what we're going to talk about here today. That's so sad. Now that I'm looking at it, that's so sad. Look at him. Look at the little guy. What have I done to him? That's horrible. That's a horrible thing to do to my made-up cartoon vlog mascot pig. I was thinking a lot the last couple of weeks about creative envy. I guess that would be the best way to put it. I think that's really what it comes down to. A lot of other stuff is wrapped up in that. There's ego, there's self-worth, there's competitiveness, there's all kinds of other things that you could do like a flow chart into from that. But I think the root of it is creative envy. I think it's something all creators experience, whether you're an author like I am and you work with words, whether you're an illustrator, whether you're a musician, whatever you do, whatever you create. I think we all struggle with creative envy from time to time because we're surrounded. And it's an amazing thing. It's in no way a bad thing. Like now more than ever, we have access to, and other creators have access for their work to all these amazing things from people we never would have heard from before, and it's fantastic. But you are surrounded online by so many amazing works of art, and again that's not a bad thing. But one of the lesser. Not lesser side effects, but one of the side effects that plays on the lesser qualities of our natures as creators is that aspect of creative envy. And I'll give you a concrete example of what I'm talking about. And all the Hugo Award season fervor, I'm looking at things. I'm trying to put together my own Hugo ballot. I was exposed to 17/7/76. For the first time. I haven't heard the title spoken aloud before, so maybe it's other people say it differently, but that's what I'm going with. 17/7/76 by Jon Bois, which if you are not familiar with it, is this. It's a work of fiction, but like that does not encapsulate it. I could give you a plot synopsis. It's basically about these two sentient satellites in space discussing Earth in the far future where people no longer die, and it looks at how the sport of football has evolved in that world. That is an accurate summation of what 17/7/76 is about plot-wise, but that does not encapsulate what this work is. It's a multimedia presentation. It utilizes text. It utilizes video and audio. It utilizes charts and graphics. It utilizes web design to tell its story. The orientation of the words on a web page. It totally defies conventional explanation. It's just this amazing multimedia fiction storytelling experience that just totally blew me away when I checked it out. Not for gimmicky reasons, not just for that like multimedia aspect, not just because it was weird, not just because it was different, but because it utilized all that to tell such an engrossing and compelling and funny and absurd and human story with all these facets and levels to it that just hooked me right away. Just the character work in it is stunning. Between the dialogue between these sentient satellites that anchors the whole experience, it's so well done. The characterization and the interaction and the dynamics and just the way they talk. There are times when you laugh out loud because it's so funny, and there are times when you're furrowing your brow because the mystery of it is so intense, and there are times when it's so tragic, and there are times when it's so just relatable on so many levels. It was really well done. Blew me away. This has been around for a while, but I had just gotten hip to it. Because a lot of people were talking about, on Twitter, they were talking about what category does 17776 belong in for the Hugo Awards. And I absolutely feel it deserves to win one. If you haven't checked it out, I'll put a link in the description of the vlog. You should go check it out. It's just it's an amazing thing. It's serialized, so it's something you can get into, and it goes from like, it's a web page it's like a chapter, and then it takes you to another web page for another chapter. So you can kind of go along with it at your own pace and your own leisure, just like reading a novel. But it's a fantastic experience. It felt very singular. It did not feel like literally anything else in the storytelling fiction, milieu or whatever that I had experienced before, and I really genuinely enjoy it. And I suggest you go check it out wholeheartedly. And I hope it does get nominated and win a bunch of awards this season, because it absolutely deserves it. That was my fan reaction to reading. That was my reader reaction. The problem is, because I also attempt to be a storyteller on a somewhat consistent professional basis, I also have the professional side of me that reacts to this. And the professional side of me was really humbled by it. It was one of those things, and I think we all deal with this from time to time, where you see something that you think is so good, and I qualify it that way because it's worth qualifying. There may be other people who check out 17776 and think it's crap, and think it's nonsensical, gimmicky crap, and don't connect with it at all. I thought it was so good that, when I got past the initial excitement of reading the story and taking it in and following it to its conclusion, like after all of that wore off, I crossed the transom into the other part of how I ingest media, which is filtering it through my own skill set and my own meager talents and what I am capable of as a storyteller. And it left me with this really empty, bitter feeling of, my God, like, why do I even bother? Like literally, it was one of those experiences, like, what am I doing? I write these conventional narrative fiction stories. I don't have anything new to say. I have nothing innovative or original to say. There are people out there creating this amazing work that leaves me in the dust. Why do I even bother? I got to that place. And obviously it's not, or it shouldn't be, something that permanently anchors you. But again, this is something I think that happens a lot with creatives and people who make things, either whether it's recreationally or whether it's as a profession. You can't help but measure yourself by the works that really move you. And it was one of those things where this was so different and so original and so effective and well executed that I was just left in that comparison feeling very small. It was just. It really humbled me a lot, and it makes you question, like, what am I trying to accomplish with my stuff? You feel kind of like, I don't know, you feel like a 17th century cobbler, like trying to reconcile an Air Jordan. It seems so beyond anything you're doing, and it seems to really render you obsolete as a storyteller and as a creative. We are creatures of ego. We absolutely are. Even in our purest forms, the best that we can be, you are motivated by ego to a certain extent. You are driven by wanting to win. You are driven by seeking recognition and validation. You want to be recognized for the stuff that you do. You want somebody of note, somebody you view as being of note, because it's such an arbitrary bullshit concept to begin with. You want somebody of note to stand up and say, that creator and that thing they made, that's what's happening, man. That's the real shit. You want that recognition and validation. You want to win. A part of you really wants to win. And there's nothing wrong with that when you keep it in a healthy context. Again, it's something that drives you. You should be driven to do the best work you can possibly do, but you have to keep it in that context. It gets unhealthy when that is the only thing driving you, you know? And I think we all know that. I don't think I'm exposing anything here in a hard copy kind of way, but it's important to understand, and it's important for your own internal processes. When you hit a wall like that, when you're exposed to something really, which you think is really brilliant, really amazing, and you have that reaction of, what the hell am I doing with my work? Like, my work is thoroughly pedestrian. Why do I even bother? You have to realize where that comes from, and that's how it helps you deal with it. So when it comes to dealing with those feelings of creative envy, which inevitably leads to creative doubt, there are a few ways you can do it. You can crumple up into a ball and quit and say, you know what, I give up. I'm never gonna be able to measure up. I'm never gonna be able to compete. I have nothing original or worthwhile to offer. I'm gonna go to welding school. You know what? The world needs more welders. Nothing wrong with that. But if you don't want to do that, you have a couple of alternative options. The first is to use it as fuel, man. If you really feel like you're not pushing that envelope hard enough, if you feel like you are not pushing your boundaries far enough, if you're not stretching yourself creatively enough, then, get in the lab and get to work, man. Try to do something that moves you and that knocks you on your ass the way that story that you just checked out, whatever it was, moved you and knocked you on your ass. Don't try to replicate it. That's where a lot of people screw up with this option. They go out and they try to make something like whatever it was that just blew them away. That's not what you're trying to do. That's been done. That thing that they did. So you're not looking to copy that thing that moved you. You are looking to take what you do and push it further. And you have to decide what that means. Does that mean trying a new style if you're a writer? Does it mean incorporating new media? Do you want to pick up a camera, like I've been poorly attempting to do since I started this vlog, and start incorporating new media elements into what you do? Nobody can answer that question for you. But the thing I can tell you is, don't start by copying someone else. It should all come from you. If you decide you need to push yourself further, it should come from your work and what you're interested in and what you want to do. You need to find the new version of you. You don't need to adapt it to a version of someone else. Your third option is to realize that you don't need to reinvent the wheel. It's okay. What you're doing is okay. You don't have to create some avant-garde, completely different mishmash of media formats or whatever it is for your work to be worthy. That's not what this is about, man. It is at its core. All this stuff that we do, the music and the stories and the art and the paintings and the illustrations, all this stuff that we do, it's just about trying to convey some form of truth to somebody. That's what it really comes down to. Whether it's an emotional truth, an intellectual truth, a factual truth, a socio-political truth, a cultural truth, whatever it is, base or very, very complex and complicated, you're just trying to make something that conveys a truth to somebody in a compelling way where they really get it, man, where it slams them in the skull and hits them in that certain way that changes someone and opens their mind to new ideas. That's all you're trying to get to. And there's no right or wrong tool to do that with. If you write third-person prose, nothing wrong with that, man. You just need, if you're feeling like you're not getting to that place where you don't feel like your work is really compelling people on that level, then you don't need to necessarily change the format of the medium. You just need to step up what you're using that medium to say and how you're saying it in that form. Don't get caught up. Again, the reason I was so moved by 17776 wasn't the gimmicky aspect. It wasn't the weird format or the combination of media. It was because within that weird mishmash of stuff, Jon Bois told me a really compelling story that hooked me in and engaged me and made me believe in what they were doing and intrigued me and made me want to keep finding out about this world and these characters. That's all it was. And you can do that with the same prose that people have been using to write novels for hundreds of years. It doesn't stop being relevant. It's just what you're writing about. that determines the relevance and how you're writing it. So that is your third option, is to realize you don't have to be that thing. You don't have to be the hot new thing. You can be exactly what you are and create in the space and the formats you want to create, and just focus on the content, man. That's what we're distilling everything that's going on right now, like what we're doing now with this vlog, YouTube, online content. When we talk about content, I really believe that the essence of it, the core of it, is we're distilling all of this media and all of these storytelling formats down into the substance of what you convey. And it doesn't matter what you use to convey that or how you convey that. It's about what you're conveying, and that's what you need to focus on. Content is the heart of all of this stuff. Whether you're shooting video or writing or illustrating or making music, it's that core of what am I saying. To whom am I saying it, and how am I saying it? What am I trying to get across? What is that essential truth? So realize that. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. It's not necessary. If you want to take a stab at it, that's great. But again, it should come from you. Don't force it. Don't feel like you have to. If you are most comfortable writing in third-person prose, use that tool to its fullest extent and to the fullest extent of you. So that's your third option. And that's my quick and dirty guide to dealing with creative envy. Which option did I choose when I was sitting on my couch questioning the worth of my work? Well, that's a topic for another vlog for another time. But I hope you found this. Helpful, folks. I feel like I should have a theme song to go here, but we're low tech on this show. I would actually have to get somebody to come over and stand behind me and play instruments. Maybe I'll get like a ukulele player. That's very internet, right? I don't mean to fidget. A lot of my friends are ukulele players. I love the ukulele. Anyway, this is the news. So what's going on? What's relevant that I could tell you about? As you know, this year, the podcast that I do, the Digitas Podcast, the Hugo-nominated Digitas Podcast, that I co-host with Mer Lafferty about the business of writing and being a professional freelance writer, education and advocacy for professional writers, as we like to say. We went weekly. And while I was a little worried that it might burn the show out or burn us out, I'm actually extremely happy with the episodes we've been producing lately. And if you haven't been on top of that, you should really check it out. We just put out one right now that I'm particularly proud of. We got our agents, Mer and I's, the agents that we have separately. We got them both on the show. Jennifer Udden of Barry Goldblatt and Dongwon Song, my agent from Howard Morhaime Literary, on the show to talk about all the agency things. They went over contracts. They explained basic rights and contracts, clauses. They talked about the publishing industry, the culture of publishing, all kinds of really interesting, insightful, informative stuff. And it's essential education for new writers trying to break into publishing and get their work published, get their work picked up by agents, and to teach you how to deal with publishers and know what you're talking about. Because there's so little of that education out there. There's so many people who will tell you how to write a story and nobody to explain the difference between world English rights and North American rights in a publishing contract. And we need the latter thing so much in the publishing industry. So I was really happy with that episode. They're two very smart, experienced people. My agent, Dongwon Song, he was an editor at Orbit before he became an agent. So he's seen both sides of that, that veil. So it was a really good episode. Next episode we got coming up, we got Justina Ireland, the author of Dread Nation, on the show. If you've ever seen Justina's Twitter feed, you know that it is hot fire and she does not give a single fuck and is immensely intelligent and insightful and knowledgeable about everything that's going on around in the publishing, has strong opinions, strong relevant opinions. We got her on the show to talk about her book and talk about all things related to publishing. That episode is coming up next week, and I'm insanely proud of it. I really hope you'll check it out if you haven't been. I also hope you'll consider supporting us on Patreon. Patreon.com/MightyMer. That link will be in the description below. It really helps us with the weekly format and also to get the show professionally transcribed to make it as inclusive as possible for authors who can't listen to it. So, and that's a costly procedure. So consider supporting us on Patreon. Even $1 a month makes a huge difference. And yeah, I'm really happy with how that's going lately. That's what's going on with the podcast. April 26th, next month, I don't think I've announced this yet on the vlog. I will be at Dark Delicacies in Burbank. Dark Delicacies, a genre institution, bookstore, memorabilia store, movies, everything genre, largely horror-based, but they're very inclusive of all their genres. I've done a lot of my Sin du Jour book releases there, and there's no other place I would rather be signing for the release of the final Sin du Jour book, Taste of Wrath, which is what I'm going to be doing on April 26th, which is a Saturday. I believe it's 2 in the afternoon, but we'll firm that up as we get closer. But I wanted to put that on your radar. If you're in the Burbank area, you're in Southern California, you're able to make it, I'd really love you to come out. It's gonna be one of my last probably Sin du Jour book signings before we move on to other things. It's Taste of Wrath's coming out April 10th, so you got plenty of time to pick up the book. Bring it in, I'll sign it, we'll hang out. We always have a really good time at Dark Delicacies. My family ends up coming down, my wife. A lot of friends. You never know who's going to turn up. Last time I was at Dark Delicacies, I signed with Cory Doctorow and Amber Benson. Had a fantastic time. Sue and Dell, who run Dark Delicacies, are amazing people. It's a great place filled with fantastic stuff. And I will be there on April 26th, signing Taste of Wrath, my 7th and final Sin du Jour book. And yeah, that's how we mark an occasion. I hope you can make it down. That is it for this week, folks. Thank you to everybody for your continued support as we've changed the format here on Angry Writer and my Writer's Room vlog, going from every weekday to weekly. And I really appreciate everyone's support as I've made that transition. It's helping me immensely. It's helping me balance my full-time marketing writing job with creating my freelance stuff, and still having a life somewhere in between there with my wife, who I love very much. It's helped me out a lot. I really appreciate everyone's support. Please like, share, subscribe, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought of this vlog, what you're thinking of the channel, ask me a question, suggest a topic for me to talk about. I just like hearing from you. What was the best lunch you had in the last week? Always a popular topic in the vlog comments, and I'm always interested because food. So thank you very much for that. We'll have a new video up on Thursday. I'm not quite sure what it is yet, but there'll be something. So come back for that. In the meantime, I am Matt Wallace, and I will see you all next Tuesday. Same Matt time, same Matt channel.